or in German. An international platform where we show unique Notion creators with their setups, projects, and even their businesses run with or thanks to Notion. Today, we have Ellen Vandevyvere from Belgium in the show with her business, The Timehop. The true productivity nerd believes in going fast when she can and to slow down when she needs to. With her almost sun-like, with her almost sun-like dashboard, she certainly can. We are especially curious seeing her reset and process dashboard today. This show is run by Dagmar and myself. We're both the first German-speaking certified Notion consultants and co-host these shows. Some of them in English and some of them in German. And we can't wait for Notion to come out in German too. So before we move on with the introduction, please say hi in the chat and let us know where are you watching from. And if you fancy, tell me your favorite pastime when you were a 10-year-old. So do we see already something in the chat? I see someone saying hi. Let me switch over here. So if we don't see yet any people, let's move on. Dagmar, would you mind to introduce yourself and tell me what's like to be a certified Notion consultant?
Yeah, sure. So thank you, Natasha. Thank you for starting the show. And yeah, welcome everybody. I'm really happy to be here again for another edition of the Notion stream. I'm really excited for all that Ellen is gonna show us. I'm a big fan of your aesthetics, so I'm very ready to learn a lot from you. So a bit about me. I'm Dagmar. I'm 32 and I'm from Germany. As Natasha has already said, I'm a certified Notion consultant, and that means I basically do custom Notion workspaces for a lot of different companies and clients. I specialize in small companies and solopreneurs, and they basically get the whole Notion dream workspace from me that I built for them. And that's for me like playing. It's my dream job. So I'm really, really, really happy that I get to do this and even get paid for it. That's the best part. And yeah, I'm always really inspired by the Notion creators that we have on the stream, because I always learn a lot from every single person. So I'm really excited that we have you here, Ellen, today.
Thank you.
Likewise. So thank you, Dagmar. Now on to Ellen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself and let us know, how did you discover Notion?
Oh, yeah. So to introduce myself, so I'm Ellen. I'm 21, I wish, 28 years old. And I live in Antwerp, Belgium. So I speak Dutch. I'm supposed to be able to speak German, but it's a bit rusty. It's been a long time. And for my business, I started my business in February 2020. And I'm doing two things at the same time, but they're quite closely related. So at one point, I'm helping female solopreneurs spend their time in a better way so they can find more peace in their mind and in their business and life in general, hopefully. So I have online courses and coaching for that. And of course, Notion became to be a big part of that as well, because it's obviously, for me, it's the ultimate productivity tool. So I started building a course around Notion, building a community in Dutch. And I also do Notion consulting, not certified yet, working on that. But I'm building workspaces for other solopreneurs who are like on the verge of taking the next step in their business. I think that's kind of the niche I'm working on right now. People who are starting to build out a team, and the challenges that come with that, Notion can solve pretty quickly. And I came to know Notion, I think, in November 2019, when we were using Asana at the time, the company I was working for, but I was running into the limits of Asana, and someone, an old colleague, said, "Hey, you should try Notion," and tried it out for the first time. And actually, after 1 month, I threw it to the side because it was too complicated. I think people recognize that story pretty well. And then I got lured back into it, and I thought, hey, let's give it another shot. And I've been in love ever since. So, yeah.
So great. Thank you very much. Before Ellen starts now with her presentation, some housekeeping. You can ask your questions via a form, and the form link you will find in the show notes, or you can ask a question in the chat, but please then start with a queue so that Dagmar, who is so kind to watch the chat, can identify them easy, and we can pass them on to Ellen later. So Ellen, what's on today's menu?
Yes, so I thought I would show you just a little bit the general organization of my workspace, because it's a combination of different, let's say, productivity. Well, it's inspired by other productivity gurus, the general setup. And then I just want to take you around a little bit, show you some of my pages and mostly some of my dashboards, the home dashboard, especially content creation dashboard, and the reset and process dashboard. So, yeah.
Great. So let's start with your screen share.
Yeah.
And I will start to hide Dagmar first. And then I put Ellen's screen into, yes, great.
All right, perfect.
So, Dagmar, can you hear something? Good. Ellen, you can start.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm just going to start by opening up. I'll get back to this dashboard later on. My ICADA page, and that's kind of the acronym, if you call it that way, that summarizes the structure of my workspace. I think it's kind of based on, if you know the PARA methodology by Tiago Forte, or the bucket system by William Nutt, or the Volt system. This is kind of similar, but I added some stuff of my own. For example, so we have, well, let's just go through it. We have a couple of collections, and collections are like the areas in the PARA system. It's all the departments in my life, between quotation marks, that I want to make progress on and that I want to keep moving forward in, or that are just important to me. I'll jump into some of those later on. Then we've got actions. That's anything that will make those collections move forward. So all the tasks I need to do, projects I need to do, goal setting, that kind of stuff is in there. Then I'm going to quickly jump over to data. Data is everything that either supports all of the collections or that has nothing to do with any one of the collections. So it's kind of the basic dumping ground for all sorts of information. On my dashboards, I pull information from the collections, the actions, and the data. I pull them all together, and those are like the pages that I spend most of my time in, just because it's where the action and the good stuff happens. And then the two I added, because those are, I think, quite similar to like PARA and the Volt system. But what I added comes from the David Allen Getting Things Done system, and it's pretty simply an inbox. And my inbox is just my page. It's going to be empty now, except for some couple of stuff here. It's like my page where I drop stuff on the go. Just anything I drop with a Notion web clipper, or stuff I think about when I'm walking. I have a widget on my phone, and it's my brain dump page, basically. And then we have an archive, and an archive is just for stuff that I don't need anymore, but I'm too scared to throw away into the trash. So that's basically what I use it for. So I hope that's already a little bit clear, but that's been my basic setup for a little while already, and it's working for me so far. It's pretty clear what goes into which page. So I'm pretty happy about this structure.
Yeah, great. I also love that you came up with other words that makes more sense for you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the buckets worked pretty well, but then I thought, buckets, collection sounded better to me, so that's just why I switched it around. So just to give you an idea of what's under my collections, for example, I kept them quite small. I think in the beginning, my workspace, I started off with putting a lot of different stuff in here and putting a lot of different collections in there, and Notion was a collection as well. But then it quickly became too complicated. And in the beginning of this year, I really tuned down my workspace a bit. And I think this is pretty steady right now. So to run my business, I think those are the most interesting pages to show you. Just, I'm not going to show specific pages, but just what's under it. Like I have my sales collection, under which I have my strategy, my sales numbers, products and services, certain lead magnets I might have created, funnels, a CRM, of course, and like market research. So if clients tell me, oh, it would be nice if you do something like this towards the future, that's kind of where I dump all those ideas. Under growth, pretty steady as well. I have personal branding, which is like my branding colors in case I need to share this with someone, but also speaking gigs I had. If I was mentioned in the media or press, I note it in there because I think it's mostly nice for future reference. Then under content, this is not the content dashboard that I work on, but this is just my content database and like other, just in case like other content I drop in here, or if I do like hashtag research, this is where that goes. And then there's a nice page that actually one of my clients used, and I stole the title. It's objective proof against imposter syndrome, because I think if you have your own business, all of us run into imposter syndrome sometimes. So here I keep like reviews and like really nice comments people send me, just in case if I feel like, yeah, I'm not made out to run my own business or something, I can check this page and I can feel good about myself again.
Yeah, I really like that you have this kind of a placeholder where you remind yourself, and I totally agree.
Exactly.
Imposter syndrome is totally being exposed when you become an entrepreneur, and I think that it deserves even its own show. But carry on.
Perfect. And then under operations, I have like anything that, well, it's just on the back burner or just keeps the business going. So I have, well, a legal page. It's not my favorite page, but it's just in case I need to drop some, yeah, well, who loves the legal stuff in their business, right?
Yeah.
So I just drop stuff in there. I've got system and tools. It's just a database and overview of all the systems I use. It's something that I can look at on a monthly basis to just see, am I paying for anything here that I shouldn't be paying for? Then finance-wise, I also keep all my finances in Notion. I don't do any like weird or specific calculations, although towards the future, I want to see if I can, with some integrations, create like nice dashboards and that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is like a page I shared with someone who's working for me, but now I'm moving more towards working with a team. So here I have pages for my copywriters and for my VA, who just have access to anything they need on their own specific homepage. So that's like what I keep for my business.
Can I ask you something about that team page? How have you organized this? You don't have to open it.
Oh, I can, no problem.
Do you have tasks in there for your team, or how have you organized that?
Well, by now it's actually at this point it's pretty simple. So these are my two copywriters, and they have access to just a content database, and I put something on they have editing rights on that. So I put something on a specific status when they have to do the copy for it. And then they just see it and they can access that. And then for my VA, I'm working on that right now. I'm going to create a sort of delegation dashboard in which I just make it easy for me. In my task database, I want to put a tag delegate. And then I'm just going to create the delegation dashboard in which I can move the tasks between both databases pretty quickly. And that I can follow up on any tasks they do. So it's not really the point for me. I don't really want to go into these pages to see, oh, how's it going with the tasks that I assigned to, my copywriter or my VA. I just want to be able to delegate stuff and then go to my delegation dashboard, which I'm still building at the moment, to to see what's going on over there. If that answers your question a bit.
Yeah. I really love how you set up your delegation system already, and so early on in your career, and I really love that you have done that.
Well,
cool.
Yeah, now it's really become a priority for me to see it with my dashboards, because people can't see it on the screen, but since I'm almost 6 months pregnant, I have 3 months to go until my business drops. Well, dead, I hope not, but until I have to start delegating stuff. So it's really, really a huge priority for me right now to hand stuff over to other people.
Yeah, that's great to plan for contingency regardless what's coming, right?
Yeah, exactly. So then this is just my actions page. Nothing really specific in here. It's just my goals, my milestones. I have a database, or lots of databases for like the year, quarters, months, and days that are related to other databases in my Notion. I have a calendar because I'm experimenting with that right now to have items through automatizations move from my specific email addresses into a Notion calendar. It's not optimized yet, but I'm experimenting with it because I love to have my calendar in Notion as well. And then just projects and tasks, database, and ideas. Like I said, it's probably nothing new over here. And under data, I keep just notes in general. Like for me, notes is anything that I don't have any other idea where it's supposed to go. It goes on the notes, like a note for where I stored the passport of our dog, something like that. I just keep over here. Commonplace book is for nice quotes, and inspiration is like my Pinterest dashboard, but for business. I have a people database, and for me, it's not just, it's like people I follow online, but also people in my network, people in my close circle, so that I can reconnect with them on a regular basis. So I just keep like a nice database with everyone's faces in there.
Your people database is like a CRM. So you don't make a distinguishing, or you just toss everyone in there, clients and networking contacts. Great.
No, so my clients are actually under my CRM indeed, and then my people database is more like everyone who's not a client and I don't want to either keep in touch with, or people like Marie Poulain I find inspiring and that I just go to their website every once in a while and see what they've been up to. So I do make a distinction. Because in my CRM I just really want to see clients, and it's a different part of my business. Like my people database I would go into on the weekends, and my CRM I would stay out of. So I think that's why I kind of make the distinction.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Great.
And then we've got the library, which is just anything I want to read, any course I want to follow, coaching, articles, books, you name it, webinars. I just drop into my library, and then on a separate dashboard, I choose when I'm going to see what, and I summarize it in there and all the good stuff. And then just tags and topics, they pull it all together. So tags and topics are like any topic I talk about in my business or that I want to learn from other people on. So inspiration is linked to tags and topics, people is linked to tags and topics, library is linked to that. So it just pulls everything together.
So when you just showed that you have a tags database, do you also go into the tag database and then look at a particular word and then see what kind of content you have or what connections? How do you, I'm asking because I would like to know, how is your practical approach? Where do you implement and really see the advantage for yourself?
Yeah, so I just opened it up. So what for me is really important, the ones I use the most are like the ones that are linked to my own business. So they're also linked to my content database, so that I can see, for example, okay, I want to make something like around productivity tools and systems, like let's say 4 hacks to spend less time on Instagram. Then if I want to make something on that and I link it to the tags database, it's pretty easy for me to pull like all articles I've read on that topic as well. And to just dig into them for inspiration, to just say, oh yeah, those are some people that talk about this kind of stuff regularly. Let's just go and visit their website and see if I find some inspiration over there. So that's mostly why I use it. But now I'm in the process, and that's a huge process, but also for every topic I talk about quite often, to under the tags and topics database, make like a summary of the best tips I have, and just make it like a mini course on its own on every topic with, in the beginning, just the index, using the Notion index to just see, okay, make a big summary of everything I've said before on that topic, or I really resonated with me. Yeah, that's mostly the point.
So that means this way you also can track not only what you have consumed content-wise and what interests you, but you also can see what kind of information you have already put out. And exactly. I think you can also this way identify easily other topics that you haven't covered yet with your marketing activities. Correct?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's not just the marketing activities; it's also like for personal stuff, things that I check into. But sometimes it's like I also like when I'm learning new stuff to dig into a certain topic like very deeply in 1 month, and to really get into that. And then it's easy if I go to the tags database and I see, okay, these are all the people that have talked about that. These are all the articles, all the courses, and I can just take a deep dive into it, because I prefer to focus on just one thing when learning instead of doing everything at the same time.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, good.
And how did you evolve your tags? Because what I've noticed is that in the beginning, I start to create a lot of entries, and then I have to prune them and sort of condense them. Did you also experience this?
Yeah, exactly. And I think specifically on the topics that I like to talk about, like productivity tools and systems, I think in the beginning I had like the different tool, like automation tools, and then we had like tools like forest and time tracking tools, and I had a lot of different tags like that. And then I just said, okay, we're going to stop, and I'm just going to put everything in one tag, and then I'll just start summarizing it in the tag itself, and just use headings and use an index on the top of the page to just take out like the best tips and the best kind of information and put it in the page itself, because otherwise, yeah, it becomes a very tedious project to put tags on everything. And I would rather put a general tag on something than not put anything at all.
Agree.
Yeah. Okay, good. Shall we dig into some dashboards then?
So these were your dashboards, right?
This was my data, actually.
Good.
Yeah, so amongst dashboards, I can show you over here. I have a couple, but I'm only going to dig into some others. So I have my main dashboards, which are also favorites on the left. And then I have some who are currently work in progress. But I'm going to start just with the main page I go to every day. And that's my Timehop page. So this is for everything that's work related. So I always like to put my mission at the top, just to remind me every single day of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then we have just my inbox over here as well. In case I think of anything during the day, I can drop it in here quite quickly. We have quick links to, my dashboards that I use most often. Then over here, we have a sync block with my top 3 projects, yes, which you'll see coming back in my reset and process dashboard. It's like in the beginning of the week, I go, or at the end of the week, I go to my reset and process dashboard, and I kind of do a weekly review, as David Allen would call it. So you'll see that over here, and I define my top 3 projects for the next week, and then they show up over here as well. So I think that's a really nice use of the sync block feature. I have, of course, quick links to my collections, and these are all the projects I'm working on right now. So that's anything that's ongoing, and ongoing means it's always a project for me. Like content creation, it's always a project, and doing just means, yeah, I'm working on it. It's a project with a definite beginning and end date. Again, I keep like this kind of stuff, projects, I keep very, very simple. In the beginning, I added like tons of tags and tons of information and statuses and deadlines and timelines and I don't know what not. And it just became too much for me. So I really
sounds so familiar.
Yeah. Same with my task database. I can show you my tasks are over here. I have like if I open up any task, like I want to book a vacation, I have just a couple of stuff. It's a type, it's deep work, short work, and deep work and short work. I mean, deep work means I need to focus for this, and short work is okay, I have half an hour, I can just do like quick stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's like one of the only things I add. Life admin is anything I need to do for my personal life, so it shows up on a different dashboard. And someday the event I'm actually not using anymore, so I can throw out. And then I have recurring tasks, but recurring tasks I still haven't found a solution that I'm super happy about in Notion yet, so I'm not using that much. So actually it's mostly just like deep work, short work, life admin. That's it. I only add a due date when I really need to do something on a specific date, because I know myself, otherwise I just keep pushing due dates to other dates and moving it forward.
Same here.
Yeah. So if there's a due date in here, well, like I'm saying this right now, but I wanted to watch the BlockX block on Friday. Didn't do that, but okay. Usually when there's a due date in there, it means it needs to be done on that day. And then it's just linked to a project. Sometimes, mostly not. And the responsible, I just added it because my husband finally started using Notion. Yay!
How long did you have to work on him that he finally decided to join?
About 1.5 years, ever since I started using Notion.
Wow.
Yeah. But now I'm doing most of the stuff for the baby, and it's all in Notion. So if he wants to have anything to do with it, he has to use Notion. I'm very sorry. That's just the way it goes.
So he literally hasn't got a choice.
No, indeed, yeah. But the thing is, he's an ITer, and in the beginning, I sold Notion a bit too much, like saying, "Oh, it can do anything you want. It's amazing." But if you tell an ITer it can do anything you want, that's a bit dangerous. So yeah.
I'm also curious, Dagmar. Do you have stuff in about family things related in Notion as well, and husband has access to it, or not at all?
Yes, I actually do. Well, I have to catch up with Ellen when it comes to the pregnancy part, since I'm pregnant as well, for the people who don't know already. And I'm actually further along than you. And I'm thinking every single week, like, okay, I'm gonna put all the pregnancy info into Notion. I mean, there's some pregnancy info in there already, but it's kind of scattered. It's like in my knowledge database. I have like a similar structure to you when it comes to that. But what we do share in Notion and what I found tremendously helpful is a meal planner. I mean,
Exactly.
it's a simple thing, but it really works very efficiently between us, that he can add things and I can add things, and it doesn't matter who goes shopping. Those days he's going shopping more than me, to be honest.
Yeah.
That we can share it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, thank you. So let's move on then. Or do you
we
want
we definitely have to, Ellen, we have to talk about the pregnancy dashboards.
Okay, definitely we will.
So maybe that will be a pregnancy stream.
Who knows? Who knows?
Well, if you become a mom, there's like a whole new world of Notion templates that's opening up for you as well, I guess. There's like so many already thought of, like, oh my God,
Definitely.
make
Not
this
just
and
the
this.
whole world in general, but
Yeah,
also
exactly.
in whole new world in Notion.
Exactly.
All right, then let's move on. Or Dagmar, do you have a question, or this question came in?
Let's move on for now.
Let's move on. Good.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so again, the tasks pretty simple. We have everything that's not linked to a project, everything that's linked to a project, and then just a calendar just to see if there are urgent things coming up. Pretty simple. Then I just have some stuff over here, which is as a reminder that I use this. I don't use that much, and just 2 counters for the people who are in my course and in the Dutch community, because I just find that's fun. And then if I add like new tasks in the beginning of the day, I just created like a quick board view where I hit everything. So just in case I have a new task, I can quickly drag it over and already assign it the right type of task. So I don't leave tasks like hanging too long. So that just works for me to do it that way. I'm more of a dragger than a clicker in Notion. I don't know if that makes sense, but I try to install my workspace as much as possible that I can drag more than I need to click. Then I have, let's dig into maybe like these 2 dashboards that we talked about before. So I have my creation dash. I'm going to hide this for a moment. So what's under my creation dash? It's again, like some of the hashtags I use most often are in here. And then I have like an ideal story schedule. This is just, a reminder for me that because I like to make a lot of Instagram stories, and I just want to make sure I tackle plenty of different topics to talk about. So it's like, okay, I'm going to share my plan for the week. I'm going to share some tips today, show that I'm working on my business. So it's just stuff that I learned from an Instagram coach and that I put over here. This is where I kind of schedule and plan my posts. I'm right now on the podcast and YouTube filter. Everything for that is planned. But for example, when I go to Instagram, these are all the post ideas that I had, like everything that's not live for Instagram or Instagram TV. And then I can just drag them over here to the right side to say, okay, this is going to go live then. I would like this to go live then, and so on. I just made my huge plan for the next 2 months at the beginning of this week. So there's not that much that I need to do right now. Wow. But yeah, this for me works really well to just have this overview of my content and when it's going to go live. And then over here, I just have everything which is creation ongoing. And that means that I'm working on it, or my copywriter is working on it. So this is quite new. I'm still testing this out because I have a podcast launching Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but Wednesday next. So I had to rework this for a little while. So now I have over here, it's just everything I still need to write the script for, which can be pretty short or pretty long. Then we have everything I need to film or record, so I can batch this. the reason I do this is so I can batch everything together, because it doesn't work for me to like write the script for something, then film or record it, then create the visual. I just want to write all the scripts together, record everything all together, and then create the visuals. And this is actually also where my delegation comes in with my copywriters, because the moment I say, okay, I filmed something or I edited a podcast episode, I drag it over here and I say, please write the copy for this blog. And then it shows up on the page and the dashboard of my copywriter. And then the moment she's done with it, she puts it on review so I can check it. And then once that's done, I'm going to forward this ready for implementation, and it's going to get sent to my VA, so she can put everything online. So that's like what I'm experimenting with right now, content-wise, to have this kind of flow. And then the moment it's scheduled, I can just drop it over here and it's out of my mind. And I know that, okay, great, it's going to go live pretty soon. And I can adapt this every once in a while to say, all right, this went live. I also have for a lot of my Instagram posts and sales mails and that kind of stuff, I added a lot of properties to be able to every once in a while check my stats on it. I'm also going to delegate that to my VA, so she can enter that. But the reason I do that mostly is content-wise. I don't believe in, or I keep all my content in the same database and just try to tag that as well as I can, because I don't believe you have to reinvent the hot water, we say in Dutch. I don't know if it's a saying in another language, but it just means that if I made like an insanely good Instagram post 4 months ago, then I can just reuse that and make a podcast out of it, or I can just see, okay, which post did well. Maybe I'll use that post again, but in a different format, something like that. Because, well, people tend to forget, and if it's the same message and it really resonates with people, then why not reuse it? That's kind of my
very
vision on
clever
it.
strategy.
So I don't know if there's questions on this content database or this content dashboard, because I think, Natasha, you're muted now. Before I could hear you, I can't now. But if there's questions, I'm just going to pause like for a second. So there's room for that.
Yes, I have seen that Dagmar entered some questions that we related to the freelancers. Let me quickly read that. Yes, how do your freelancers manage their tasks?
I'm just going to continue, otherwise I'll hear it. And then
can you hear me?
Final one I wanted to show, actually process with an S, is my reset and process dash. So for me, I'm someone who, when I'm working throughout the week, I'm pretty I'm pretty chaotic. So people always think I'm super structured because I'm a time management coach, between brackets. But actually, I'm one of the most chaotic people you will find in your life. I have my brain is a mess sometimes, and that's why I created like this dashboard to. And every Friday afternoon or Saturday morning is like the moment where I make myself a nice coffee, maybe with a piece of cake, and I sit down and I go through my reset and process dashboard. And what does it mean? It's like the moment I push the reset button to end one week and continue on to the next. So there's certain steps that I go through. The first one is to clear my mind. And under the toggle, clear your mind, there's like a brain dump. This is again coming from David Allen. This is like his trigger list, where I just have a look at, okay, these are all the projects that are ongoing. Is there stuff I need to do for that I need to think of? These are all the projects that are coming up. Do I need to do certain stuff for that? Privately as well, and just like a huge list that I go through pretty like shortly, to just see if there are words that pop out that make me think of tasks that I still need to do that I'm maybe subconsciously keeping in my brain. So that's pretty important for me to go through this. Then under the tutorial, I'm not going to open it right now, but it's just an embed of my calendar, so I can check my schedule for the next week and to see if there are certain tasks I need to do for that. And then on the review, my task is just my task list again, and then I just drop all the stuff I brain dumped. I drop in there and I assign them the right tag, and assign if it's deep work, short work, or if they need deadlines or not. So that's the first part I always do. I clear my mind.
Ellen,
then I clean out my systems. So I have everything on Notion. That means my inbox needs to go to 0. So that's my emails, of course. My desktop, I clean. My downloads, I clean. I clean up my wallet. I check my mail. I pay any invoices I have received. And also, I have the tendency to take a lot of screenshots on my phone. So I clean out all my screenshots. So it's a tedious process, but it's really necessary for me because otherwise I cannot see my desktop background anymore. And in my downloads folder, I have a million files called 946. So this is really something I have to do. Then when I check I check all my messages. So that means I check Slack. That's usually the Notion Ambassador Slack. I check my WhatsApp. And then if there are any unanswered messages on Instagram or Facebook for my business that I need to reply to, I do that as well. Then I clean my Notion inbox. So that's what I said when I mentioned that I'm a dragger. So what I have over here, I think it might be overkill for some people, but it works for me. I have like a linked database under every toggle of every database I have in my Notion so that I can drag stuff from my inbox quickly into the right database. So say that I dropped an article in here, I can just open the library and I can just drag it in there. And that works for me to like clean out my inbox pretty quickly. So I think I could use the move to function and then type library, but it's too much clicks and too much effort for me. So I just love dragging them from one place to another. And then sometimes, most of the times when I'm a really good girl, I open this up and it's again all my Notion databases, but they are filtered in a certain way. So I highlighted a couple that I wanted to show. This seems like it takes a lot of work, but if you do this on a weekly basis, it actually goes pretty quickly. So say I have, for example, my content. I added a lot of new content this week, so I will have some work to do here on Friday. But for example, I filtered this on, a lot of my databases have a creation property that I don't use for anything else but this. So it just shows me all the content I have created within the past week. Mm-hmm. And then I can just start like adding, oh, I forgot to put the type in here. I forgot to put the content team in here. So I just start filling all this stuff out. And this is really important for me to keep my databases clean, because otherwise I'm always on the go, like dropping content in there and not adding statuses and not adding types, and then it can fall apart pretty easily. So here I decided to use the creation date as a filter. But with the library, I went for, because for the library, for me, it's pretty important that everything is filled in. I went for a filter where either the status is still empty, the tag is still empty, or the type is still empty. Of course, that means I cannot fill in the status here because then it disappears. So I need to click open this page and just fill everything in over here. But it just shows me like all these pages I still haven't filled in a tag and I haven't filled in a status or a type yet. So I need to do that, and then they are gone from my cleanup. And then for tags and topics, very, very easily, I just open this up and I type on add a tag, because we were talking about this earlier. Once you start adding like nice icons in Notion, you have to continue doing it. And that's, well, in my brain, I have to keep doing it. It's like my autistic side that then every tag has to have like the nice icon. So that I just, it's filtered, or this is sorted according to when did I add it, so that I can see this isn't supposed to be here, for example. So then I can just see, I still need to add the icon over there. So that's a big part of what I do on a Friday. Again, because I know myself and I know that otherwise my Notion will become chaos pretty soon. And then what else I do, I plan the week ahead. So I just check my project, and this is again that thing block over here. I then see, okay, these are all the projects I'm working on. What are the top 3 things I'm going to be working on this week? If there are tasks that need to be done at a certain date, like I have the same database together, one with the calendar and one with all my tasks. And if I really need to do something on a specific date, I'll drag it into the calendar, so it's a due date. And then again, I have a linked view of my calendar. I don't use this that much. It's just sometimes a nice reminder to check my calendar again and see if I don't have a double booking anywhere, or maybe for the week after that. And then one last thing I do is, if it's the end of a week, I'll go into, or I'll add a new week and I'll go into the previous week and I'll do like a little bit of journaling, like a little review. What did I do to make progress on my project? What were my wins this week? What did I not finish this week and why? So it's just like some journaling prompts. I haven't integrated them anywhere else at this moment. I started with like really a journaling database, but I didn't use it consistently enough. So this is the way to go right now for me, and works perfectly fine. And then if it's the end of a month, like it is right now, I'll also go into the month and do some journaling about the month as well, and just take a glance at the next month, see if the projects I defined for the next month are not like too much, if I'm good to go with them. So it's just like every time a little check and a little review moment for me. And that's basically how I reset and process at the end of each week. Okay, I think I'm going to stop for a moment because I already shared a lot and I just want to see if there's questions or anything. So I'm going to stop the share for a moment.
Do you hear me now, Ellen? Dagmar is back in the show as well.
Yeah,
Dagmar,
ich höre dich. Yeah, I hear you.
And Ellen, do you hear us?
I'm not hearing Natasha, I think. But okay.
I'm switching you off. I'm quickly putting Ellen out of the show and try to put her on again. So let's see if that helps. Ellen, do you hear me now again? No? No, I think, Ellen, you can't hear me still, huh?
Ellen, can you hear me?
I think Ellen can't hear neither of us.
Neither
what
of
a
us.
pity.
But that's what happens with live streams. It's
exactly.
all live.
Ellen, can you hear us when you go live and hear the other stream? I think Ellen will put something in the chat for us. Or otherwise, Ellen, if you can go out of the stream and come in again. Then Dagmar and I will just carry on. Dagmar, let's discuss what we've quickly seen. And Ellen, you try to come on again. I will now kick you out and please try to get in again. So yeah. So Dagmar, what's your impression on Ellen's setup? I really love this kind of calm brownish beige setup, and also the use of the fonts, the math fonts that she uses as titles. And mine looks very minimalistic. So, but what's your take on it?
Well, I love the visuals as much as you. I think it's amazing that she has just that color scheme throughout everything, because we both know how hard it is to find pictures that suit the other pictures that you have in your workspace. I have given up at some point slightly. Yeah, so that's the first thing. And the second thing that I really enjoyed is the drag and drop approach. I put that in the chat already. I think it's really interesting to use it that commonly. I do use it in my workspace as well, but not that commonly. And also, hello, Ellen. You can hear us now.
Yes.
Amazing. So that's what's happening if there's a live stream.
Yeah, I just got kicked out. Yeah. But
so
okay.
now you hear both of us again, right, Ellen?
Sorry?
You hear both of us, yes,
Yes,
obviously.
I hear perfectly. Yes, exactly.
Let's organize it like this. Yes. So we were just talking about your setup, and maybe you've missed this because due to getting onto the show again. I mean, I'm impressed on how throughout you designed your Notion totally in brand, and and also I was wondering your reset and process dashboard. How long, over which period of time did it come to this very complex or detailed setup?
It's, yeah, I think in the beginning, when I just started out with my Notion, I think there was already a version of that in there. And then I think about a year ago, I decided, the whole clicking thing, it doesn't work for me. So I switched to the drag and drop. But then I kept adding stuff to my resets. Well, actually, I've been using like the trigger list system from David Allen from a really long time, and I had everything in different places in my Notion, and then I thought I should just put everything together, right? Because it's exactly the same thing. So I think it's quite all right. It's been steady now for I think 4 or 5 months that it's looked this way. Yeah, and again, just because I tried to, well, it looks complex, but for me, it's already a lot simpler than it used to be before. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting and funny that you showed that just now, because on Friday I'm gonna release a video on my channel about the weekly review that I do, and I think that is such a perfect example how, you know, a process can look very, very similar, because I use the trigger list of David Allen and I use a lot of the concepts that you use in Notion, and yet it looks completely different in my Notion, but it serves the same purpose. And I think this is such an amazing thing about Notion, that, you know, like you can just make it your own and you can adapt it to your own mind, basically, and then make it yours. Yeah,
exactly. I do have to say, for me, I think one of the disadvantages of being a time coach and a productivity coach is that you're constantly discovering like new hacks and new things, and like, oh, this is a new way to set goals, or this is a new way to set milestones, and then you want to implement that in Notion as well. So I wouldn't say my Notion is as steady as I would like it to be, but that this basic structure is finally, I think it's finally there. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And how did you come up with your brand name, the Timehop?
That's a good question, because when I started out my business, I'm a little bit of a multi-passionate, just a little bit. I kind of made the name of my company the Life Hub, because I wanted to do a part on time, and I wanted to do like also a creative part, and that's still something I'm looking for in my business, to see where I can insert the creative energy as much as possible. So I had the idea, okay, let's do the Life Hub, because a hub contains everything, and then I have a time hub and a crea hub in Dutch, so a creative hub. And then it just became the time hub, because I thought I can just put all the other stuff in the time hub as well, so it's fine. And it doesn't limit me towards the future, like, you know, the hub, I can do anything time related and it will fit under that name.
Absolutely. I think it's a great name. It's a very timeless name.
Nice.
And I mean, I love your branding style, but this is not a set of colors that I would use for my business. Maybe my surrounding in my living area would look like that. How did that evolve? Maybe not very Notion specific question, but I think business-wise it's interesting to know.
Yeah, it evolved quite a bit as well. It's been always pretty soft toned and pretty neutral toned, I think, but I have to really stop myself from every quarter redesigning my website and choosing my colors, because there's just so much that I find pretty. If I open up my Pinterest, I think, oh, this is a nice style as well. Yeah, so it's pretty dangerous, but I think now, like the combination of the darker browns and the soft pinks, I think it will stay pretty much the same for a little while. But also, just like in my Notion, there's a lot of pictures just from Unsplash. I just go and I enter neutral, or I enter that kind of word, and it just boho, and those are like the images that show up. So I don't have that many Pinterest images actually. On Unsplash, there's a lot of nice stuff.
Yeah, I get a lot of my pictures from Unsplash, and it's so handy to have the implementation in Notion that you don't even have to leave Notion to get cover images, and then you can look for the rest of the images. You can just look on Unsplash.
Yeah, exactly.
So another thing that would be of interest to me, and potentially also our viewers, is you are using Instagram as your main content platform. And I find this a very, very, very interesting choice. I mean, your Instagram is pure eye candy, so you definitely have like a competitive edge there, because you just definitely know how to design things. But apart from that, I would be super interested why you chose Instagram over the default platforms for Notion consultants and Notion businesses like Twitter, for example, or even LinkedIn. before them, like why did you choose Instagram as your content platform?
That's actually a really good question. I think it became it came pretty naturally to me because I've never been, well, first of all, I've never really been a Facebook person. Like I dropped Facebook for my own private life pretty quickly. Same with LinkedIn. I just thought, because I knew I had like the creative side, LinkedIn just seemed a bit too boring for me. I really need to get on there because I think there's a lot of business still for me on LinkedIn. But in the beginning, I wasn't drawn to it. And actually in Belgium, a lot of my target group, like a lot of female entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, they also do a lot of their marketing on Instagram. So for me, it was really also a platform where a lot of my target group was communicating on. And then I just started out like sharing tips and pretty pictures and sort of develop my style that way. But for me, Instagram stories is actually really where the magic happens. And I noticed it Notion-wise as well, because if you like an aesthetic Notion workspace like I do, it's really a good place to show what you're working on, and it really triggers people if it's the visual side, like, oh wow, it's not just some boring productivity tool. I can really make my own style out of this. So stories for me is really then where the magic happens as well. Yeah. There's just a lot of interaction with your people as well, with people who follow you.
So you combine the visual affinity of people who are on Instagram with the great design that Notion comes with. So I think that's a really great pairing.
Yeah, and I think it does a lot for my business as well. It's like, and it's easy for me to show what I'm working on in Notion as well. You know, a story, you make it super quickly and to show what I'm working on for customers. So people say, oh yeah, she also does that. She does custom builds, and it's selling without having to say, oh yeah, I'm a Notion consultant. Here's like everything I do. So it's more in between the lines, and day to day, I can show people behind the scenes of what I'm working on, and that really works for me. Yeah.
So speaking of clients, what are your most interesting 3 client projects?
Well, I have one right now, which is a huge challenge. It's for an interior design company. Yeah. But they do a lot. So they do like from start to finish. They do consulting on interior, but they also do, the words in English are going to be difficult. They do like making all assigning contractors to certain stuff. They follow up how the build is going if they do a whole rebuild. So there's a lot of tasks coming in there. So I'm building a lot of template buttons with a lot of tasks, and I have to find the order to put everything in. They have a lot of databases, they're working on 50 clients at the same time. So you cannot just put like 20 tasks into a template button and then put it in their task list, because they have 1,000 tasks then to work on. So I think that's the most challenging I'm working on right now. Then I just got a new one, which I'm really excited about, because it's for a platform that's going to link dog owners to people who like want a dog sit.
Oh, nice!
Yeah, and really I have a dog. Yeah.
And so timely, we covered where everyone either wanted a dog or couldn't get one anymore because the demand was so high.
Yeah, so that's going to be a really fun one as well, because I could design it with pets and everything. So I can include a lot of pictures of pets. Looking forward to that.
So that means when you create environments for your clients in Notion, you don't only focus on functionality. As I hear, you also design style-wise.
Yes, so they send me their branding colors, and I also create custom icons. Look for visuals that suit their style.
Lovely.
Yeah, exactly. Insert quotes and that kind of stuff. So I design a lot of stuff to make their Notion pretty as well. It's like an additional option. So yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah.
And then a third one, I'm thinking. Yeah, I think it's a travel agency. That was also pretty interesting. I just rounded that up because they have a lot of information on auto cars, like a lot of different databases that you need to be able to see in all different sorts of places. Okay, this car is over there right now, and that car is over there, and these are the hotels those people are staying in, so they can like see the whole trajectory of their clients and where they're going to be staying when. So that was also pretty interesting. It's pretty diverse, and that's what I love about it. You can have like a fitness coach on one point in time, then a content creator, and then that's fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why I love this job as well, because it's always a new challenge to find the best solution for the client, because they're so diverse in terms of industries, and also they're diverse in terms of thinking. Like, or how many people are going to work with the system, what are they going to do in the system, and you always have to find a good solution, a good answer for that.
Exactly. I do have to say, I usually do start from my own system though, like the IKEDA system that I showed in the beginning. I kind of use that as a base, and then I draw out the mind map with the client, because I find that most of the businesses that you see, they kind of tune down to the same, they can tune down to the same structure, and then we start from there and create a whole bunch of new stuff and dashboards. And that kind of works for my clients so far.
Yeah, I do the same. I start with a few base templates, and then I branch out from there, basically.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah, I noticed the same, that I implement a core setup, and then once they start to use it, then suddenly they realize, oh, I also could put this on top and this on top, which is really nice. And originally it wasn't on the plan to do that, and they didn't have the awareness that this also could be done. So this is kind of a really lovely gradual way, and that's why I think Notion is so great for that. You can build on top and you can adapt.
Yeah, exactly.
You also mentioned earlier, Ellen, that you have a podcast. What is your podcast about?
Well, it's going to be all things time management. I'm going to not talk about Notion that much on the podcast. Going to try and keep it limited, because I like to show things in Notion, and I don't think a podcast is the perfect platform for that. So I'm going to keep that over on YouTube. But I have, well, the point is to every week give like bite-sized tips and advice on different topics on time management, because I have a pretty holistic view on time management. So I really don't like talking just about planning and organization stuff. I like talking about time management mindset and focus and discipline and communication, setting boundaries, that kind of stuff. So every week I will be sharing tips in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops on different topics. And every 5th episode, I'm going to be sharing something I'm struggling with. Like, for example, now the preparation for the whole mom thing is something that's coming up in an episode pretty soon. And every 10th episode, I want to just have a guest, a female entrepreneur as well, have her share what she's working on, what she's struggling with time management wise, and then see that. But it's the first time ever. I recorded 4 episodes so far. I'm going to do the next batch tomorrow. So I'm very, very curious, very excited as well, though, as well. Yeah.
Nice. Dagmar, do you have any questions? Otherwise, we are close to the hour.
Well, actually, I would like to have a follow-up question. Which language is that in? Is that in Dutch or in English?
It is in Dutch, yeah.
I have to learn Dutch, so.
Yeah, but I am, well, actually, I started off with my business in English, because I feel like you can express yourself way better in English sometimes than in Dutch. They have much nicer words. Dutch is not a very pretty language. But then I noticed that somewhere I did feel a barrier as well to talk about certain stuff in English. So I switched back to Dutch. And actually, for me, it was a pretty good decision, because I found that a lot of people resonated with me a lot more when I spoke in Dutch. So I'm sticking with the Dutch for now, but I would love to get back to the English towards the future. So that's, if I'm dreaming when I'm expanding my business, to get back into the English part as well.
Yeah, I absolutely feel you. I'm in exactly the same position. I mean, I love creating content in German, because I also know that there's limited content out there. And I think that's also a special gratification if you can feel like you're really helping someone to understand it better, if there's not like a million other creators out there already. But I just love to talk English, and I love to, like, I think it's such a beautiful language, and it's a very colorful language in my head, and There's so many amazing people to talk to in English. So
also,
the same situation for me.
Yeah, it's a real connector, English. I think you can almost talk with many people in English, not with almost everyone, but it's a great enabler, but also it has a great dominance. And I think for us, niching down language specific is really an advantage in our situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So anything else you would like to add, Ellen, before we wrap up?
Nothing specific, no. I enjoyed showing my workspace. It's always fun. It's always a little bit exciting because, it's always a work in progress as well. It never stops. So maybe in 6 months, I'll look back on it and say, the way I did it over there, I would have done it differently. But that's Notion,
Then you come
I guess.
back.
Then I come back. Voila.
Yes, do a second edition. Great
Fix
idea,
it, yeah.
Dagmar.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having
got
me.
a lot of inspiration out of it. I think I really admire the fact that it's so tidy and so beautiful. Like we talked about this when you got kicked out. Like it's so beautiful. It's just so nice.
Thank you.
I got a lot of inspiration out of it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's always so nice to do this kind of stuff and to talk with fellow Notion lovers, geeks, whatever you want to call it. So yeah.
Agree. So thank you very much for coming and for your time and also showing us your approach to Notion. And I think it's very specific, especially from the visual part of view, because I'm very functional. And I wanted to ask Dagmar, can we already give a look out to the next episode, or is it too early?
Yes, glad you asked. The next episode is going to be on the 11th of August, so exactly in 2 weeks, and we're going to have another amazing Notion consultant as our guest. This time we're going to have Camille Blanchon, and she's going to show us a project that she's working on. So I'm excited. I'm not gonna tell more than that, but it's gonna be really cool. And we're gonna chat to her about her business as a Notion consultant and about her Notion workspace. So make sure that you're there again, because I think there's gonna be lots of Notion inspiration going on.
Agree. So we're really curious about Camille's setup and her new project. Please also subscribe to the channel and like this session. Also, in the show notes, you will find a link to sign up for future episodes, so you will automatically get notified when a new data is out. And other than that, I just can wish you all a happy Wednesday with a little dance from Wednesday. And nothing else to add from you guys, girls, then otherwise we will end the show now. So thank you everyone for watching, and have a great evening or have a great day. Bye everyone.
Thanks, bye.